Have you ever wondered how social media, a tool designed to connect us, often leaves us feeling more isolated than ever before? We're living in an era where we can instantly communicate with someone across the globe, share our life's highlights in a matter of seconds, and engage with people we might never meet in person. Yet despite this unprecedented level of connectivity, many of us have never felt more alone. Strange, isn't it? Social media, a platform intended to bring us closer, has paradoxically fostered feelings of isolation and loneliness. As we scroll through endless feeds, we're caught in a loop of comparison and competition rather than connection. The more we engage, the less connected we feel. And the worst part? It's addictive. We're drawn to the endless stream of updates, likes and comments, even when we know it's making us unhappy. This is the paradox of social media, a double-edged sword that can connect us to the world, but at the same time disconnect us from our own reality. To understand the impact of social media, we need to delve into the lives of those affected by it. Let's take a look at the life of Emily, a bright-eyed teenager with a heart full of dreams, but a spirit bogged down by the weight of social media. Emily, like many teens, got caught up in the whirlwind of likes, shares and comments. She started comparing herself with influencers, celebrities and even her peers, all of whom seemed to have perfect lives on the screen. The pressure to maintain a perfect image online began to take a toll on her self-esteem. She started feeling anxious, depressed and isolated. The glamour of the virtual world began to overshadow the beauty of her real world. Emily's story is not uncommon. Many young people today are battling self-esteem issues, fueled by the unrealistic standards set by social media. Next, let's explore the story of John, a middle-aged man who found himself at the receiving end of online harassment. He had always been an active participant in online discussions, sharing his views freely. One day, he found himself targeted by a group of anonymous users for his opinions. His inbox was flooded with hate messages, his posts were filled with derogatory comments, and his personal information was shared without his consent. The harassment didn't stop at his digital doorstep. It spilled over into his real life, affecting his mental health and personal relationships. John's experience is a stark reminder of how social media platforms can become a breeding ground for hate and harassment. These stories are not isolated incidents, they are real-life examples of the potential harm that social media can cause. They highlight the need for us to reassess our relationship with these platforms and understand the impact they can have on our mental health. These stories are a grim reminder of the potential harm that social media can cause. The question now is, how can we take control of our social media use? Well, it's simpler than you might think. Start by setting time limits for yourself. There are numerous apps out there that allow you to track your usage and set daily limits. This not only reduces the time you spend scrolling mindlessly, but also encourages you to engage in more meaningful activities. Next, be selective about who you follow. Surround yourself with positive influences and content that truly inspires you. If an account doesn't serve you, don't hesitate to hit that unfollow button. Lastly, avoid comparing your life to what you see on social media. Remember, people usually only share their highlights, not their struggles. Don't let someone else's carefully curated feed define your self-worth. Social media can be a great tool if used mindfully. Remember, you control your social media, not the other way around. It's time for us to rethink our relationship with social media. Let's take a moment to reflect on that statement. We've spent the last few minutes delving into the paradox of social media, exploring real-life case studies and discussing ways to take control of our social media usage. Now it's time to take action. Social media in all its forms has become an integral part of our lives. It's how we connect with friends, stay updated on news, and even how we find entertainment. But as we've discussed, it also has a dark side. It can be addictive, harmful to our mental health, and it can distort our perception of reality. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by this information. It's easy to feel like we're powerless against the behemoth that is social media. But here's the thing, we're not. We have the power to change our relationship with social media. We have the power to use it in a way that benefits us rather than harms us. So how do we do that? Well, there are several ways to approach this. One option is to take a social media detox. This can be as simple as setting aside one day a week where you don't use social media at all. Or it can be a more extended break, like a month or even longer. The aim of a social media detox is to give your mind a break from the constant barrage of information and notifications. It's a chance to reset and refocus. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, but I can't just quit social media. I need it for work or to stay in touch with friends and family. And that's completely valid. A total detox isn't for everyone. This is where the second option comes in: mindful social media usage. This involves being more aware of how and why you're using social media. It's about setting boundaries and sticking to them. It could be setting a time limit for how long you spend on social media each day. It could be turning off notifications so you're not constantly being drawn back in, or it could be only following accounts that make you feel good, rather than ones that make you feel inadequate or anxious. The key here is to be intentional with your social media use. Don't just mindlessly scroll through your feeds. Ask yourself, why am I here? What am I hoping to get out of this? Is this making me feel better or worse? Another approach is to diversify your online presence. Don't put all your eggs in the social media basket. Find other ways to connect with people and consume content. This could be joining online forums, subscribing to newsletters, or even going old school and picking up a newspaper or a book. Lastly, educate yourself. Be aware of the tactics that social media platforms use to keep you scrolling. Understand the impact that constant social media use can have on your mental health. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the better equipped you are to make informed decisions about your social media use. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to this. What works for one person might not work for another. The important thing is that you're taking steps to improve your relationship with social media. So let's recap. We've talked about the potential harm of unchecked social media use. We've explored real-life cases of how it can impact people's lives. We've discussed ways to take control of your social media usage. And now, it's time for you to take action. Maybe you'll choose to do a social media detox. Maybe you'll start practicing mindful social media usage. Maybe you'll diversify your online presence, or take the time to educate yourself more about the inner workings of social media. Whatever you choose, remember this: you have the power to change your relationship with social media. The power to use social media responsibly is in your hands. Make the choice today.